सर्व प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। बाबा
Invoking Bhagwan's divine presence and his benediction on all of us, and offering our loving pranams at his divine lotus feet. Most revered elders, dear brothers and sisters, a very warm and loving Sairam to all of you. And we hope that all of you are keeping good health, you and your families. And it's a great privilege for all of us to join in this 96-day birthday celebrations, a series of programs that you have, and we are very happy to be a part of that celebrations, which marks a very important 96th year of Bhagwan's advent. On behalf of all our brothers, once again a very warm and loving Sairam. And the topic that was given to us was plugging into divinity, and obviously through bhajans, because I think you have had a multiple number of plugging into divinities. And so we were thinking, what more can we add about plugging into divinity? And the thought that came to us is, I think the amount of shocks and the short circuits that we are currently kind of tormented with, in the world outside of us, whether it's the COVID shock or it's an economic recession shock or all of the other shocks that we are getting. How can we insulate ourselves from those shocks? And I think the answer is by plugging ourselves out of the world and plugging ourselves into divinity.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, Bhaiya?
Yes, absolutely. This is so true.
So when we were thinking about this topic of why we should be doing it through bhajans, one of the reasons why we have these shocks in our life is because we are not able to, as we mentioned, we are not able to plug into divinity 24/7. And Swami gives a very interesting example. He says, we all chant, we all sing a lot of bhajans, and so we wonder, I'm involved with the organization, I'm involved with Swami's name all the time, but yet, I'm tormented by all of these shocks. So how can we overcome them? And Swami says that, there is nothing wrong with the name of the Lord. If we are thinking that there is something wrong with the name of the Lord, it is not so. It is like, Swami gives the example of a diseased body. When the body is having fever, whatever you eat, even like maybe a gulab jamun or maybe like one of your pastries, if you have, it'll just taste bitter. Forget sweet.
Yes.
So there's nothing wrong with the pastry, right? There's nothing wrong with the sweet. There's something wrong with our tongue. So what we need to do is we need to take a medicine to cure ourselves first of that disease, and then we will be able to taste the sweetness of that particular pastry. So Swami says what you need is, in order to taste the amritam of the name, you should have taken the aushadam, which is the medicine. And guess what? In this case, the aushadam and the amritam are the same, which is the Lord's name. The medicine is also the Lord's name, and having got remedied from our disease, we start tasting the sweetness of the Lord's name.
Beautiful,
right?
Beautiful, yes. And coming to think of it, we are talking about these shocks and these tremors that we have in our life today more than before, maybe. But are these problems unique to us? Are we the only ones riddled with problems, thinking that we are in a Sai organization and we are praying to Swami every day, and why are we having these problems? And guess what? Swami has filled us with such wonderful stories of his devotees from the past, so that we can look at their lives and see what we can take from their lives to our lives, to see that when they had such shocks, when they had such earthquakes in their lives, what did they do? Did they give up on God, or what did they do? So we have some very wonderful examples in our mythology, or even in our history. And one prime example that comes to mind now is about Saint Tukaram. So we think that these saints, what was there in their life? They were they probably had a tanpura in their hand, and twanging the tanpura, they took God's name and they went about their life. They had their food and they had God. What else? But guess what? It is not like that. Sant Tukaram, when he was 13 years old, his father passed away. He had an elder brother whose wife passed away, and therefore the elder brother wanted to leave home and left home, all when Sant Tukaram was 17. The entire family's, the responsibility fell on the young shoulders of Tukaram, who was just 17 years of age, and he had to look after the farm and get all the produce for their house. And guess what? Drought hits the state of Maharashtra for 2 consecutive years, and because of that, he has lost his mother. After that, he lost his elder son in that. Now, how many more troubles can one person have in life? And so by the time Tukaram was 21 years of age, his life was in ruins. But guess what? For him, Vitthala's name stayed with him throughout this. Did he give up on Vitthala? No, he did not. There was a temple at the same time which was in ruins in his village. He took it upon himself personally to bring up and to rebuild this entire temple, and sat there and called all the villagers and sang Lord Vitthala's name. He got married a second time, and would that have made anything better for him? In fact, no, it made things worse. He had a wife who was very nagging and who did not appreciate that Tukaram was chanting Lord Vitthala's name all the time, and this was his life. And how much more traumatic can a life be?
Yes.
Losing children, losing parents, having a not so great wife,
Yes.
having not so great neighbors.
Exactly. And he was from what was called the Shudra section of the society, which in those days was looked down upon by the Brahmins of the society. So the Brahmins said, you have no right to write poems and sing Lord Vitthala's praise in the public, because they were jealous of this man who was getting so many people, gathering so many people around him for his religious and spiritual activities. So they in fact told him, bundle up all your poems and throw it into the river. And he had to do that because that was the norm in the society. But what did he do?
he sat there on the banks of the river and prayed to Vithala for 14 days. And at the end of that, what do the villagers see? That the entire thing which had been tied with stones and thrown into the river, they come to the surface. Vithala surface. So the devotion of anybody cannot be drowned in this world. So once you have that devotion to God, it will always surface, and God will make sure that you're always left floating.
Yeah, and the reason why we thought we should share this with you is oftentimes we think that, look at a saint's life and compare it to our life. They have the same circumstances, they have the same 24 hours that we have, they have the same problems, if not more problems that face, and yet their lives are different from our lives.
Yes.
While their circumstances, the time and everything is the same, what differentiates their life from our life? Look at it, the life of someone like Mirabai, right? Someone who was so dear to Swami. We would see the love that Swami had for Mirabai, what Lord Krishna would have had for Mirabai. She was a princess. If you take Tukaram on one end, who was a Shudra in his life, here is a princess. She had nothing, there's no dearth of anything. Just a little comment by her mother saying that Krishna is your husband, and that is it. That was enough for her to make Krishna the part of her life. Right? And there's this beautiful song which kind of tells, and it in fact has a formula for us also. So let's sing that song. It's a very famous song. I'm sure you all have heard this.
ऐसी लागे लगन वीरा हो गई मगन, ऐसी लागे लगन वीरा हो गई मगन, वो तो गली गली हरी गुण गाने लगी, ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन। राणा ने विष दिया मानो अमृत पिया, मीरा सागरे में सरिता समाने लगी,
लाखों सहे मुख से गोविंद कहे, मीरा गोविंद गोपाल गाने लगी,
वो तो गली गली हरी गुण गाने लगी, ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन, ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन।
So this song, Rana ne wish diya, her husband, just imagine, nobody else, her own husband gives her poison. Right? We were just talking about Aushadam and Amrutam. What? Rana ne wish diya, mano Amrit piya. For her it becomes, that same thing becomes nectar of immortality. Right? Mukh se, it says, dukh lakho sahe. Hundreds and thousands of calamities and difficulties in her life. But all she did was mukh se govind gaye. Right? So that is the formula for us. How we can plug into divinity for 24 hours by simply chanting the Lord's name, and this is the formula that Swami himself has given to us. So there's no need for us to doubt its significance.
That other interesting thing you were saying about how we have 23 hours.
Correct. Yeah, these are two of my buzzwords that I often kind of happen to tell, what differentiates them from us. What they have and what we have is only two things. They have consistency with intensity, right? So they are consistently intense and intensely consistent, and that's the only thing that differentiates. In fact, people of any field, in any field, if you have these two things, consistency and intensity, that's good enough, right?
Yes.
We can excel in anything. And these great masters, these great saints, this is what differentiates them from us constantly. I always feel that, we were discussing that Swami has given us this organization for doing seva, for doing bhajans, for doing Nagar Sankirtan, Bal Vikas, so that 1 hour of bhajans in a week will sanctify the 23 hours, rest of the 23 hours of the day.
Yes.
Right? So Swami is giving us, okay, you start with 1 hour so that 23 hours will get sanctified. Unfortunately, what do? That 23 hours, whatever we do, it starts to affect our 1 hour bhajan. Right? Like we have We have issues when we come for bhajans. Why is he singing this bhajan? Why am I not getting a chance?
Yes.
That guy is been singing only this. So, all of that problems that we have, or the issues that we have for 23 hours, we are bringing into this 1 hour of bhajans, while Swami wanted it to be the other way.
Yeah, after all, it is that 1 hour in a day which we are kind of giving to God, which we should give 100%, and we are thinking of the past, we are thinking of the future, and bringing our vasanas into this 1 hour also.
Correct.
So
our problem is, the solution is that we take that 1 hour experience that we have and slowly start to spread it all over the 24 hours. That's how we can be plugged into divinity for 24 hours.
Beautiful.
Right?
Yeah. And another interesting example came to us when we were talking about being plugged in, because when we are talking about shocks and we are talking about viruses, right now virus is the buzzword, negative buzzword in the world today. So if you are talking about a computer virus, for example, they're constantly affecting our computers, and we have an antivirus installed on the computer. So unless the computer is constantly plugged into the internet and its virus definitions are updated in IT lingo, unless the virus definitions are updated, it will not be able to catch the latest viruses that come into the system. So that is the advantage of being constantly plugged in. Otherwise, people can say that I will plug in for half an hour now, a little later, but in between you don't know, some viruses may enter. We are in that danger. So we need to be constantly updated and upgraded.
I think that's a beautiful analogy. That as much as the care that we take for all our electronic devices, imagine that much care we have to take of this device, this mind and body which Swami has given us, right?
Yeah.
So the only way to do that once again is with the Lord's name. So let us begin. How can we make this a part of our 24/7? So we will start with this bhajan, and then we will take it forward.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram, गाएगी सदा सुबह और शाम, हर एक पल में, हर एक क्षण में, भजे हम सदा तेरो
So this bhajan is telling us, Sai Ram, chant this name Subha or Sham. That is, sing it throughout the day. But is it really practical? If that is the question that we are asking, that the composer of the song doesn't know what we have to go through the entire day. We have work, we have personal life, we have professional life, we have so many other things to do. How are we to do this? I think that thanks to this beautiful gift of Sai Bhajans that Swami has given us, we can actually enmesh, we can actually put bhajans into every situation, and whatever we face in our day-to-day life, we can actually put a bhajan into that. And that is how we can be plugged in 24 hours. Once again, we'll keep coming back to this plugged in thing. So our endeavor in this satsang would be, how can we take our entire day, look at the various situations and what we go through, and how can we identify a bhajan that is connected to that particular situation. And while we do that, we will request all of you, dear brothers and sisters, this is what we have interpreted it as. But I'm sure you will have many more other bhajans that you can think of. And so while we are sharing this with you, we will request you to kind of dig into your own library and make your own playlist of bhajans of the different situations. The idea is, can we remember Swami through every single moment of the day? And we say, yes, we can with Sai bhajans. Right?
Yeah.
So let's start from the very beginning. Right? Early in the morning we wake up. Today we have this, this extended limb of our body, which is our cell phones. Right? Let me ask you this question. How many of you, the first thing you get up in the morning and reach out for your phone? Okay? You don't have to answer us. Just think about it yourself. Right? I'm sure 80-90% of you, most of us, that's what we do. The moment we wake up, the first thing our hand goes to is our cell phone. Yeah. It's almost become like an extended part of our body.
Yes, which we have missed for about 6-7 hours at night. So the first thing we clutch for in the morning is that. And probably if we are reaching out for it to play bhajan a day first thing in the morning.
Probably better, at least a better way to start with. But can we actually, instead of the phone playing a bhajan, because then the phone is getting punya, why can't we sing a bhajan? So what bhajan do you think we can sing right in the morning? The sadhana that Swami has given us is do Omkaram, right? And 21 times Omkaram may be a little boring. So instead of that, we could do something like Omkaram Priya Sai Rama Muni Jana Sevita Sai Rama Shantakara Sai Rama Sakshatkara Sai Rama Bhavarag Priya Sai Rama Bhagavata Priya Sai Rama Nada Swarupa Sai Rama Natya Kalapa Sai Rama. So this is a way that we can, we are saying in this bhajan, Omkara Priya Sai Rama. He is the one who loves our Omkara.
Yes. Is there a more melodious or a more peaceful way to start the day and in remembrance of our Lord? And as this one word in this bhajan goes, Bhagavata Priya. If we can correlate this bhajan with our Sai Bhagavatam, with some story, some memory from Swami's life, there is no more blissful way to start the day. The orange hue in the sky mixes with the orange hue of Swami's robe. And can there be anything more beautiful that can, fill our eyes first thing in the morning? And you know what this beautiful Lord does? In those days, early days in the Vrindavan college, when the boys would be sleeping in the hostel, in the dining hall, before the Suprabhatam bell rings, who would walk into the hostel? Next compound, Swami used to stay. And he would walk into the hostel before the Suprabhatam bell has rung, walk into the dining hall and wake up the boys. Can you imagine this scene? You open your eyes and you're physically seeing Swami the first thing in the morning. He's saying, hey, get up. get up, you have to do Supravatam. For whom? For himself.
Ishwaramba Sutta Shriman. We are telling, oh Shri Sathya Sai Bhagavan Tava
Suprabhatam. And that Sathya Sai is already here waking us up and saying, hey, get up, you have to do Suprabhatam. Can you imagine this lovely scene in the morning and wake up? What a wonderful way it would be to start the day, isn't it?
Yes. So, I mean, just imagine, I think if our night ends like that, we get into our bed and thinking of Swami, surely he will come in our dream and he will wake us up.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So, let's move on. So, we wake up with those beautiful divine thoughts and then we jump into the washrooms, getting ready. And just think about this fact that if the Lord is the indweller and He is living in our bodies, in our hearts, that means our bath is not an ordinary bath. It becomes an abhishekam, isn't it? Because when we are having bath and we are giving Him bath, which is equivalent to pouring water over a Shivalinga or a statue. And that's exactly what used to happen back in the days. Once again, there was this great Vedic scholar, his name was Kamavadhani Garu, and when Swami would go into the washroom, just think about this, he would stand outside and he would chant the Rudram, because it is like Shiva pouring water on himself, which is the ultimate Abhishekam, and during that time it is supposedly very, very, very sacred to chant the Rudram. And so Kamavadhani Garu would chant the Rudram when Swami is having bath. Just imagine that sight, right? And it so happened that one very dear devotee of Bhagwan, one more, Professor Nanjundaya Garu, he was the controller of examination, shared a lot of proximity with Swami. One day he saw this, divine scene happening. Kamavadhani Garu chanting Rudram, Swami having bath, and he was thinking, if only I knew Rudram, how amazing it would be that I also would get this opportunity to chant. And this is just a fleeting thought. Obviously, nothing is fleeting with Bhagwan. As Swami got ready and he came out, and Swami, asks him what happened. He says, Swami, unfortunately, I don't know Rudram to chant. And Swami says, you don't have to chant Rudram alone. You can sing any bhajan, you can chant my name, yes, and that is equivalent to chanting Rudram while the Lord is having bath. Right? Wow. So we have that opportunity. Yes. Let's not let go. At least in our shower time, I'm sure we don't take our phones along.
Yes.
So during our shower time, can we sing some bhajan? So what bhajan do you think comes to our mind?
Govindeti sada snanam, Govindeti sada japam, Govindeti sada dhyanam, sada Govind kirtanam, Govindeti sada snanam.
For those of you who don't understand, snanam means bath. So taking the Lord's name is itself like having bath, because that is what purifies
our inside.
Yes. This is what this beautiful bhajan says.
Okay. So moving on from here, so we have now got ready, yes, and we are ready for whatever is coming up next in our day. So for most of us, it is we are going out to work. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's head out to work.
Yes.
And
we'll assume that we have breakfast somewhere on the way.
On the way. Okay. Yeah. On the way. We'll come to a food session later.
Yeah.
So let's head out to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's see what song can we sing when we are. I think most of you, if I'm not mistaken, in Australia, I think the public transport is not that great, right?
Yeah, it's not like in India. So you have to have your car.
Yeah, you have to have your car. So you sit in the car, you switch on, and what bhajan can you sing?
Bolo jai jaikar, bolo jai jaikar, bolo jai jaikar, bolo jai jaikar, bolo jai jaikar Sai Baba ki, bolo jai jaikar Sai Baba ki.
Bolo JJ car. So we are driving a car, and whose car is this? Sai Baba ki car. If you assume that this is Swami's car and you are driving him to work along with you, how beautiful is that? I'm reminded of this wonderful episode that happened. Very senior devotee of Bhagwan, Mr. Venu Srinivasan. He's a chairman of a very large multinational company in India. His son, it seems, he used to love cars. And so for the first time when they all came and Swami called them in for an interview, just imagine this boy doesn't know how to interact with Bhagwan, right? He's a small boy, never seen Swami. And so the father is a little apprehensive. What is going to happen? How are they going to interact? What is this boy going to say? And he's already tutored the boy also. But Swami has this beautiful ability to immediately strike, a connection, a rapport and connection with any age, right? So he immediately asks, you like car? Swami asks this boy, and he is like, cars is his favorite subject, and Swami starts talking about all the cars that Swami has driven, the Morris and the Merc and all of these cars, and this boy is like, yes Swami, I know this car and I like this car, and there was just a beautiful conversation between Swami and this boy about cars. And then suddenly Swami pops in this one sentence. Swami says, but my most favorite car? And he says, Swami, which one Swami? And then Swami just pats him on his heart and says, that heart is my best car. Wow. Right? That is the vehicle which is the best vehicle that we can give for Swami. So, can we think about this while we are driving, to work?
Yes.
So let's move on.
Okay.
So we have kind of now reached having some.
We're still on the way. I mean, we are still praying to Swami.
Yeah.
We are sat in this car, and we know what is a car that Swami likes.
Yes.
And
but now there is this place that we are going to go to, which is our work.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that for each one of us, that is a very, very important part of our life, right? That is the part that feeds our families, that puts food on our plates, and so on and so forth. So how can we offer whatever work? Because oftentimes people say, we are very, very busy, you don't know how busy we are, how to think of Swami. Sing this bhajan, right? And just contemplate, just think about this bhajan. So we are saying, मेरा जीवन तेरे हवाले प्रभु इसे पग पग तू ही संभाले पग पग तू ही संभाले इसे हो पग पग तू ही संभाले मेरा जीवन तेरे हवाले प्रभु इसे पग पग तू ही संभाले पार तो ही लगा ले प्रभु इसे पग पग तो ही संभाले मेरा जीवन तेरे हवाले प्रभु इसे पग पग तो ही संभाले. So we are saying, Swami, we offer this entire life at you, and you help us pag pag at every step of the way. You help us. I'm sure if we do that,
yes,
I think our day will be a glorious one.
Yes, I'm reminded of when I went to work one day, but it was for the first day of work in my life. That was the day Swami had blessed us with the chance to join the super speciality here. And as fate would have it, to cut everything short, we were 5 of us classmates who were given the chance to join the hospital. I was the last to go into the hospital because Swami had asked me to stay back, and he gave me Padnamaskar before I went to the hospital. And by the time I reached the hospital, the other 4 brothers, they had got different jobs, and there was only one job left for me. So I basically had a choice of one job, which was essentially like Ford's Model T car, you could choose a car of any color as long as it's black. So I could choose any job I wanted as long as it was a job in the IT department. And I had a morbid fear of computers for whatever reason. This was back in 1993. I had no exposure to computers, and you won't believe, I had physical sweating when the director told me that I had to work in the IT department. And I was so scared and I also had the cheek to go and tell Swami, express my fear to Swami and tell him that, Swami, I am afraid of computers. And Swami so sweetly, he just said, you work for a month. After that, you let me know. If you still have a problem, I will change your job. And that was so, pag tu hi sambhale, you pray to Swami. And then he said, you take a month, let me see what happens. 1 month I was in the IT department, learning a few things, the basics. And at the end of 1 month, I was so smitten by the IT department, the software and hardware and everything about it. And I was hooked to the IT department. And at the end of 1 month, Swami asked me, so what? And then I tell Swami, I'm very happy with my job. And for me, it was a huge learning that even if you have a fear of something, pray to Swami. Give it time, allow it to sink, and then go back and tell Swami, yes, I can do it, Swami. No, I cannot do it, Swami. Believe me, mostly it will be, yes, I can do it, Swami. Thank you. With you by my side, I can do it. So, pag tu hi sambhale, help us at every step on the way at work. Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, this, as many number of times that I've heard this instance, there's so much learning, there are peels and peels of learning in this one, instance that brother just narrated. So now that we are at workplace and we have offered this, in spite of that, challenges will come. It's not going to be hunky-dory, it's not going to be a bed of roses.
Yes.
Right? How can we remember the moment we get a challenge, what bhajan can we sing?
Sai mera, tum ho sahara, Shirdi avatara, Sai Bhaktipuri Bhagwan, Deenon ke tum प्राण सखा प्रभु मेरे साई राम, मेरे साई राम, बाबा भक्तिपुरी भगवान, साई मेरा तुम हो सहारा. We tell Swami, right? Tum ho sahara.
Yes.
He is our only help. So, like he said, as and when you face a challenge at your work, cry out to the Lord. And
I'm sure when the Lord hears this kind of a prayer, why will he not run? Right? How many devotees has he not come and helped? A million different instances go on in the mind. We can just go on and on just about this. But of course, it's not always a challenge. What if it's a beautiful day? Somebody comes and pats you on the back, your boss comes and says, hey, fantastic job you've done.
You actually had a bed of roses one day.
Probably, yes. And we hope that there are more of those days than the other days. Oftentimes they say, that it's only during a moment of pain that we remember God. But Swami says, no. In fact, when we are in happiness, that is more so an occasion to think about God. So, when we have had a success or when we have had a joyous day, what bhajan do you think we can sing? I think the feeling in our hearts is more of gratitude, right? That Swami, thank you. Because of you, I have been successful in whatever we have done. So, maybe a bhajan like this, you can have your own bhajan once again. This is a bhajan that comes to our mind. कोटि प्रणाम, शत कोटि प्रणाम, हे दीन So if you notice, in both these bhajans, there is a Deenon ke tum pran sakha, and here also we are saying Deenanath. So the same word, but just in a different way. It just Swami, we will always be Deenas, but we know that you are always with us.
So if in happiness or in sorrow, He is our Deenanath.
Yes. So our work gets over. We are coming back home. Once again, we can sing Bolo Jai Jaikar.
Yes.
And then we come back home, and now we jump into
we need to freshen up, because it's been a tiring day. Whether we had roses or we had the thorns that day, we have come back in our car and we need to freshen up. So can we freshen up with
with another bhajan, which are a little more peppy bhajan? So what do you think can a bhajan be? The shower is on. We can feel like Shiva and what is coming forth from Shiva.
Har Har Gange, Har Har Gange, Har Har Gange, Har Har Gange. Hey Nat Raja, hey Shiv Raja, Har 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 Gange. Hey Nat Raja, hey Shiv Raja, Har 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 Gange. Har Har Gange, Har Har Gange, Har Har Gange, Har Har Gange.
Wow. So it's
Feeling quite refreshing.
Yes. And we're reminded of once again another episode of, while we can sing really long bhajans and have a really long shower, when you think of how Swami would have a shower, or when Swami would kind of freshen up, he would be so sensitive about the electricity, the water. I remember one day in our primary school, Swami, we were all sitting in the veranda, and Swami comes out and he's having a red eye. So we were wondering what happened, why is Swami having a red eye? So obviously none of us had the guts to ask Swami. Anil Kumar sir was there, so he asked Swami, what happened to your eye? And Swami said, oh, is it red? He said, yes, Swami. Oh, that one, nothing. When I was washing my face, a little soap went into my eye. Because when I'm applying soap to my face, I've switched off the tap. I've closed the tap. And so now I want to know where the tap is, so I have to open the eyes a little bit. At that time, the soap has gone into, and because of that, it's red. And we were like, we were thinking of what we do. Just keep it on. Why? Who's going to search for the tap? Even in that little moment, Swami had given us a lesson, an important lesson of, conservation. So, maybe you could use this while you're having and not have really long showers. I know that, I think the youth have a very interesting program in Australia, which is a one bhajan shower.
Right.
They have a shower which should last only one bhajan. So I think most of you already do it. So, good to go, do it more. You choose shorter bhajans.
Shorter bhajans, Radha Krishna Karuna Lola.
Not Jai Kailashapati.
True.
So now it's supper time.
It's supper time.
Yes. So the wonderful plate of meals in front of us.
The morning breakfast which we skipped in the whole day session. Now we have come to the dining session now, and we have the Lord who has, like he said, from our work, He has provided for us and for our family, and our plates are full. And how can we dedicate this moment to our Lord?
What bhajan comes?
Hari Narayana Sai Narayana Jaya Devi Bharati Vidyadayini Annapurna Mata.
This food is given to us by this Annapurna Mata, right? And of course, Swami has given us Brahmarpanam and Harir Tata. So let us sanctify this food, because, as Swami would say, Jaisa Anna, Vaisa Man, right? Whatever we eat, And even here, there are plenty. I'm sure this is an instance that you have heard from Geeta Mohan Ram ji, one of the very senior devotees of Swami. She narrates this often. It's a very beautiful. She was saying that every day, whatever is cooked is first offered to Swami, and so it so happened that one day, sambar was made and it was offered to Swami, and then the whole family sat for meals. And as they were eating the sambar, the husband said, "Hey, there is no salt in the sambar." And so then, she said, "Oh, I think I forgot." And so she brings salt and she puts it in the sambar, and then they all partake it. She is in Washington. This is happening in Washington. Around the same time, Swami comes out here in Vrindavan, walks up to the mother, Geeta Mohan Ram ji's mother, and Swami goes, "No salt in sambar," and walks away. And Mrs. Padmanabhan auntie, she's wondering, what is Swami saying? No salt in sambar. And so, that's the only thing that happened. So usually when Swami is in Vrindavan, they would talk, the daughter and the mother. So what happened today? She asked. He said, Swami came up to me and said, no salt in the sambar. And that's when it struck her that she had put salt in the sambar which was on the dining table, not in the Naivedyam. The Naivedyam sambar did not have salt. So she says, oftentimes we take it for granted that, Brahmarpanam gayenge. You just sing, just chant Brahmarpanam, not knowing that, Swami is actually partaking it.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. There is another instance which comes to mind. This is post the dinner. So some of the students were blessed to, be inside Swami's residence and to help with washing the vessels, etc. So one of the brothers was washing a tumbler of rasam, and he had the tap on, and he had the rasam tumbler it had some remnants inside, and so he was putting it under the tap, and as the water was filling inside, Swami came up from behind and asked him, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Swami, I am washing the glass." And then he wanted to quickly close the tap because the water was running. Swami said, No, let it run. And then Swami said, "See what is happening." So as the water was entering inside the glass, the dirt from under the remnants from bottom of the glass was coming out, and slowly. And Swami said, watch what happens. And after all the remnants went out, after some time, only what came out was the good water which was going in. And Swami said, this is a big lesson. Take this lesson from this, saying that whatever impurities we may have within us, if we keep pouring the good water of Lord's name inside, as we keep pouring, first whatever impurities that we have, that will come out first. But we are not to be disheartened with that. We have to continue with this constancy and this consistency and intensity.
Yes.
We have to have that namasmarana going on constantly, so that eventually what goes in will be purity, what remains inside will be purity, and what comes outside will be purity itself. So this is a beautiful lesson Swami taught.
Only Swami can.
Yes, for post dinner for washing our vessels.
Yes.
So every time when we do this chore at home, can't we think of this and then feel sanctified?
Yes. And what is the detergent? What is the water? The Lord's name.
The Lord's name.
Yeah,
yes.
Beautiful, fantastic. And I think only Swami can, almost like an innocuous thing like washing a glass, Swami gives like the most ultimate lesson and formula for life.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so finally, so during this, what bhajan can we sing? Right? We are pouring water into, the tap. So what, as you were saying, this bhajan came to mind. See whether it fits in. Daya Sudha Barsao Mata Jaya 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 Ambe Prem Sudha Barsao Mata Jaya 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 Ambe Devi Niranjani Sai Jaya 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 Ambe Jaya 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 Ambe. Now I was just thinking, Daya Sudha Barasao Mata, so water is pouring in.
Yeah.
Niranjani, the word Niranjan is the one who is spotless.
Spotless, pure.
So we are trying to make our minds and our dishes
also spotless. Yeah.
And then how do we do it? Jaya, Jaya, Jaya.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm taking it a bit too far.
No, but yeah, there is no limit to how we can, incorporate Swami and his lessons and his bhajans into our daily life.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to make it, yeah, Jaya, 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 Ambe, yeah, fantastic. You're doing it with God's, God's name and with his bhajans. So while we are ever thankful to our Deha Mata, who so lovingly cooks the food and gives it to us, to Daya Sudha Barasao Mata. At the same time, we are also thankful to our Divine Mother for granting us this beautiful lesson for our life.
So we have come to the fag end of the day,
Yes.
and this is the time where we once again we offer everything to Swami, and I think there's a beautiful.
Yeah, there is an incident. See, now the food is done, the dishes are washed. Now we have to go to bed, right? So it is said, sleep in peace, for God is awake. One of our doctors in the super specialty hospital had this wonderful incident. One night he was doing a night duty, and one of the patients was very sick. And while this patient was on a feeding tube through the nose, because the patient was operated and he was in the ICU. The duty doctor, they are allowed to go to the duty room and take rest for a while at night. And if there was any emergency, one of the nurses come and typically wake them up and say there is an emergency. So just as this doctor went to take rest and his eyes closed, he saw Swami coming to him and saying that patient's tube has come out, you have to go and insert it back in. He was asleep, he opened his eyes and he thought some nurse has come and woken him up and said this. Nobody was there in the duty room, it was just him, and Swami had come in his dream, in his half awake stage, in ways that only Swami can come and tell you things. Swami had told him this, and so this doctor rushed into the ICU from the duty room, went to the doctor and went to the patient, and the sisters were totally unaware of what had happened. But this patient, sometimes because of these drug interactions, they get a little irritant, and he had pulled out the Ryle's tube, which is quite a dangerous thing to happen in an ICU setup. So immediately this doctor called the nurses, and they put back the Ryle's tube, and all was well. And the next morning, this doctor goes for morning darshan. Those days, Swami would come at 6:45 in the morning for darshan. Swami finished the whole round, came to this doctor, and he asked this doctor, how is the patient with the tube in the ICU? And this doctor got a shock of his life. And isn't this something of a shocking incident that Swami was in Prasanthi Nilayam and he is in the hospital, and Swami comes and wakes him up to an emergency that has happened in the ICU, and a patient was saved thus. So it is not simply said that we can sleep in peace because God is awake. As long as we have thoughts of Him continuously, through the day, as we are plugged in, even as we go to sleep, if we have Him in our thoughts, He is definitely going to be there with us.
Yeah, when you said that, He is in Prasanthi and we are where we are, that kind of triggered this bhajan, which we can sing while we go into sleep, right? We can sing something like Subh aur shaam bol hari naam, Gopi Gopal bhajo Sai Ghaneshyam, Subh aur shaam bol hari naam, Chalo man chalo chale Baba ke dhaam, Chalo man chalo chale Baba ke dhaam, Shirdi ke dhaam, Sathya Sai ke dhaam, Shirdi ke dhaam, asleep, let this mind come and be with you in your abode.
Yes.
Whether it is Shirdi or Prasanthi, let
Yes.
it be with you always.
So we start the day, Subha or Sham, Sai Ram, Gaye Geet Sada Subha or Sham. You start that in the morning and end your day with Subha or Sham, Bol Hari Naam.
Yes.
So the Lord's name with Namasmarana, we can fill our day and keep ourselves plugged in.
Yeah. So, this was our little way of kind of how we can merge Swami, merge his name, merge his bhajans with everything that we can do. But if you actually take it one step ahead, right, it will become, so now what will happen is we will all clamor for, which bhajan fits over here, etc., etc. But if we actually just quieten our minds, so for a moment, just quieten your mind, right? And what you will notice, what you will observe is that there is something there is some intensity and consistency that is happening even while we live our lives. And what is that? Our breath, right? Just our constant inhalation and exhalation, as Swami says, is telling us that I am He through Soham. This is called the Ajapa Gayatri, which you don't have to chant. Without chanting itself, the body is chanting for you, right? So just think about that. Soham, Soham.
Soham, Soham, ध्यान करो सद्गुरु साई, ध्यान करो सोहम, सोहम, ध्यान करो.
So as we will notice that there is this constant Gayatri going on, and all we need to do is every now and then in the day, as we are at work, just for a few seconds, or while we are driving, we are coming back in the morning, at night, can we go back and listen to this Gayatri that is constantly going on, right? And why will we not then be plugged for 24 hours a day?
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
I think one of the important things in whatever we kind of try to present is, if only you know the meaning of what we are singing. Of course, you all have a lot of English bhajans, but if you were to take most of these bhajans that we sing over here, which is just namavalis, each of the name is so powerful.
Yes.
Right? If you can just go deeper and deeper into just one name of the Lord.
We'll take this one word, for example, in this bhajan, and we'll try to contemplate on what is its meaning. Gopal, 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 Govardhan Dhara Gopal.
This is a word that comes so often in many of our bhajans, just simple word called Gopal.
Yeah, doesn't it just mean go is cow, pal is one who takes care? So cow herd, Krishna, cow herd.
But Swami gives us such a beautiful understanding of this. So why are we just saying the one who takes care of a cow? Swami was once saying that a cow, all its life, it's a herbivore. All it does is it eats grass to survive, right? It doesn't understand any other food, any other taste. However, when a cow gives birth to a calf, the entire calf is covered with the liquid and the placenta of the mother. And for that moment, this mother cow forgets her very instincts and licks off the entire covering, which is far away from the usual, the eating, that the usual food that she partakes. It is something which is carnivorous. It is something which is non-vegetarian for it. But for that moment, the love of the cow is so much that it lets go of its instinct because of the love it has for its calf, and it cleans away this. That is the love of one mother. And Swami went on to say that if that is the love of one mother, imagine the love of 1,000 mothers, which is our Lord. And that is why he's called Gopal.
Beautiful.
Right?
Wow.
If we can just contemplate on this meaning when we are singing Gopal, that oh my God, Swami loves me so much. Right? It's like, imagine for him to come down on earth and become an avatar, to take upon the limitations of this human body, this infinite, to come in such a limited form. And towards the end, we saw Swami going through all the physical maladies that a human body could go. Imagine, he is infinite and he had to live that kind of a life. Imagine that love that he has for us. In spite of that, he comes down on earth again and again. That is his love for us. Can we remember that?
Yes.
So if we just consider these small words and go into its depth, I'm sure that there is no difficulty. In fact, it will be very difficult for people to plug us out of this Lord.
Out of this Lord, yes, correct.
Yeah, the world will become absolutely insignificant. It will become absolutely unnecessary for us once we are plugged into that kind of love.
People will wonder, why are these guys so happy always?
Yes.
Why do they seem charged always? Because
Yes.
they're always plugged in.
Yeah.
And why is no virus affecting them?
And we are plugged into an infinite source.
Infinite.
The world is such a finite source.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Maximum it will give us, something to live by, something. Imagine we can plug into something which is infinite.
Yes.
And we can do it through this infinite power of the Lord's name. So this is what we wanted to share with you, dear brothers and sisters, that at least for these 96 days, can we practice this, taking Swami with us through every situation, through every moment, through every second of the day. Let's try till his birthday, and I'm sure that the greatest gift that we will have from him on his birthday will be, experiencing his presence in our lives 24/7.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes.
Um,
It was very blissful for us to think about how we are plugged into divinity, but these little snippets of Sai Bhagavatam which comes out with every episode gives us so much joy and charges us
Yes.
through this journey of bhajan and thinking of the Lord.
In fact, brothers, we can tell you, all of us, for the last 1.5 years, we have been blessed by Swami to sing bhajans in the Kulwant Hall morning and evening, right? And without this energy, in this particular time, I don't think we could have survived.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Singing, dear brother Jagadish and
Brother
Roshan.
Yeah.
We have enjoyed, singing morning and evening and morning and evening and morning and evening. Bhajans after bhajans is just absolutely energetic. We request you also to do that and try and see what it can do. So thank you so much, and Sai Ram to all of you.